What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Mystic Watch, and today we got a new video. We're going to be talking about, it's going to be a discussion video going over what units should you expect relatively soon on global, and on top of that, of those units, which ones are the important ones to actually save for. So, as you already know, global goes faster than JP. That's nothing nothing new. We've been going almost twice as fast since the beginning of the game. For example, JP's been out for over a year, and global hasn't even hit their 6 months point, but we're actually pretty close to being caught up. A lot of the things get tossed over on global pretty fast. Characters get added on really quickly. We get double banner units a good amount of the time, whereas JP might only get a single banner unit, things like that, less gapping between banners, events, and so on. So, recently, what has come out on global, right? So global is up to the point where, let's see if this loads. Okay. So global is up to the point where we have just recently gotten Red Skinny King, we've gotten double Molascula, we have gotten Red Gallon, and of course, Red Escanor. Those are the most recent units that came out on global, and they all came out relatively quick, relatively quick between one another. Most of the banners would be double week banners, and then during one of the weeks, like another banner would come out and overlap for 1 week. But even though they're 2 week banners, you only get 1 week of them sometimes by themselves, and they're really pushing new units on us, right? So Red Gallant, pretty much once Red Molascula came out, it told us that on global they are starting to move into the 10 Commandments coin shop unit. And what I mean by that is there are certain units here that will end up as commandment units. There are 10 commandment units, and they will end up on the coin shop for 10 coins, the same way how we have the 7 sins for 7 coins. And when the sins are discounted, they're 5 coins. When the commandments are discounted, they'll be 7 coins. One example is, so I already gave you the Molascula, which is somewhere in my box. Molascula. Oh, Molascula. I'm sure I passed her like 7 times so far. I gave up. Whatever. You got the Molascula and you got the Red Gallant, who I definitely saw right here. It's literally right next to me. Okay. So Red Gallant and Red Molascula are both coin shop units, and they will most likely not be on any future banners unless they come out with another coin shop banner or a sins banner or a commandment banner like they just did on JP. We have almost one of each for the remaining commandments. Let's actually take a look at JP Coin Shop to show you guys what commandment units are coming up. No, I don't care about that. Okay. So, you can see here that we have kind of this top split where we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 with the Escanor. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So we have the 7 sins here, and then you can see the coin cost ends up swapping down. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 commandments here. So still waiting for the shop to fill up, but these are the units that you can expect to come out relatively soon. And I believe that they'll do stuff with, we're going to get a double Bondspeed, a double Estarossa, and a double Gloxinia banner, and possibly double Zelgius. So those 4 units, or 8 units, right, or those pairs, are probably going to be coming out in the next, those are the units that they're most likely going to be giving us over the next month or 2. Just to fill up this shop, and eventually they'll add them all to the coin shop as well. But these are the units to expect, and of the units, none of the coin shop units are particularly OP or anything like that. They are pretty decent units, right? Like, you can use them and you'll be fine, but none of them are game-breaking units that you have to worry about, saving up for. Something like when Gother first came out, or even like Red Escanor right now, Green Escanor. They're all units that, nice to have in your box, you can use them, but nothing to over the top. I'd say the only one that was really strong when he came out was Green Esterosa. And Green Esterosa had a pretty short meta just because, like Lost Vein Mellie Otis came out, and Green Esterosa just kind of fell off. But while he was out, before Lost Vein Mellie Otis came out, he was pretty nuts. I'd say those are really the only units, and their counterparts, their banner counterparts, the ones that won't be in the coin shop, tend to be pretty good as well. Main example being Red Ariari. Even Green Ariari sees a lot of PvP play, so I wouldn't discount that. Coin shop Monspeed sees a lot of PvP play. The banner Fraudrin sees a lot of use, but mostly by whales, because that Fraudrin's mechanic is Fraudrin, the Strafus. Here we go. This mechanic is, I actually gotta pull it up. I don't remember the exact, I do not remember the exact wording. But it's enemy heroes who have lower CC than Fraudrin will not gain ultimate gauge for 2 turns. Meaning, this guy requires you to be effective, requires a full-on, like, buy every costume, max him out, put all your resources into him, super awaken him, do the whole 9 yards, right? But if you can do that, he is very strong and a good counter to Lost Vein Mellie Otis, as well as the new Festival Elizabeth. So, I mentioned Lost Vein Mellie Otis and Elizabeth, but didn't talk about them. Those are the first and only 2 festival units in the game, Lost Vein Mellie Otis being the first, and he is absolutely game-breaking, not even remotely close, #1 unit in the game. So when he comes out, he's going to have a whole new set of outfits that work exclusively for him, and he is absolutely insane and is a must summon. You need to get 1 copy of him, right? Ideally you get him 6/6, but the way his banner ends up working is it is a banner similar to the Attack on Titan banner that is out right now, where it is a festival banner. And festival banners have no pities, right? So there's no like, you know, oh, you do your 6 multis, if you got shafted you get a pity. No, it is a bar that you fill up, and once you get to the highest point, it'll be guaranteed Mellie Otis. And I'm gonna assume they're gonna do it the same exact way. I don't think they would change it at all. And Mellie Otis, when he was out on JP, had a pretty low raid, 0.25, I think. I can't remember the exact number. And it was something along the lines of, you know, SSR at 300, SSR at 600, and then Mellie Otis at 900. I managed to get in 1 rotation 2 Mellie Otises, including the guaranteed, which was really nice. And then when the anniversary came out and we had the festival banner returned with the addition of Elizabeth, I picked up 4 more copies of Mellie Otis as well as 4 copies of Elizabeth. I did 2 rotations on that banner, which was really, really nice. The Mellie Otis is busted. Why is he busted? Rebate increases skill ranks of the hero if the hero receives critical damage on the enemy's turn. Really broken. He levels up his own skills exactly like Gother without the use of a move, and on the enemy's turn, meaning that by the time it comes back to you, you already have ranked up moves. You can see here that his crit resistance is 0, meaning that it's very easy to crit him, but his crit defense is His crit defense is pretty high at 60%, so even if he does get hit, he tanks it pretty well. So the goal is for him to get crit. You kind of just sit on his cards, get crit, and then kill him off with the level 3 cards. His first attack is exactly like Green Escanor's, what is it, Rising Sun? Elegant Blow, that's the one, right? Elegant Blow, where he attacks, fills up ultimate gauge if it's rank 2 or 3. This one is just AoE, ignores defense, does 1 billion damage. That's really it. His ultimate brings on a new mechanic called Secret Technique, which increases the damage dealt of this move by 20% per this hero skill card in hand. Meaning if you're sitting on a lot of Mellie Otis cards, do just more damage with your ultimate. It starts off at 300%. Damage inflicted will be effective against all attributes. So he's strong, like, he ignores type disadvantage. And not only that, he does... I don't know if this is... When it says effective against all attributes, if it means it is super effective, where it does, you know, if he is red, it does damage as if all the enemies were blue, or if it's simply for green units, makes it so that it's neutral damage. But the way it's worded, I think it is super effective, right? Where it is like strong against the enemy. Multiplier is 30%, increases by 30% each time, but the secret technique multiplier also goes up, meaning that let's say this is 6/6, not only is it 450%, each additional card does 60% bonus damage. And this multiplier looks pretty low, but because it is like super effective damage against the enemies, it hurts. Like, to put it in perspective, a level 1 Mellie Otis ultimate is almost the equivalent of like a 6/6 King ultimate. And that is the kind of power he's got. But yeah, really strong, really busted. His stats are through the roof. One of the highest CCs in the game. Just really strong all around. His Super Awakening skill is really good as well. And then you have Elizabeth. Elizabeth, who is also a festival unit, and festival units have their own type of like currency. How do I explain this? Let me just show you. All right, let me take a look. Oh, I have to look at the Elizabeth because she's still missing. Elizabeth. Oh, you're the first one. Okay. Elizabeth, you can see here that she's 4/6, and they have this a special type of thing. You've noticed this from like Slime Collab. It had a similar type of coin. The festival units have their own type of coins that do not like mingle with the other generic platinum coins. And eventually, they're going to add things that you can exchange their coins for in the shop as well. So these are going to be a little bit more exclusive. Elizabeth, passive is when someone dies, they don't. The first person who dies comes back to life at the exact amount of health they had before the move killed them. This happens once, meaning that essentially you have to kill, in order to win, you have to kill 5 people, not 4 people. This move, level 2 stuns. That's all you need to know. It's better than King's, because King's petrifies, this stuns. At least with a stun, you can still attack them without breaking the stun. And then it also cancels stances. The shield is busted. This is the strongest shield in the game. It prevents... So, creates a barrier around all allies. It's only a 1 turn, right? Whereas Merlin's is 2 turns and scales higher. This is 1 turn no matter what. Or 1 turn and then goes to 2 turns. Merlin's does more turns, more bonus. But this is when attacked, no bonus damage effect will be applied, exclude Rupture. Rupture is 2 times damage against buffs. What this means is your opponent cannot crit. They cannot, like, just nothing gets applied. No spike, no crit, no nothing. Like, they're just super weak. Like, the move that they use does nothing. And if the same move, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say it's a multi-hitting move, and you have like a high chance of critting. We'll give you Jericho, for example. Green Jericho, right? You know her bleed effect move where she hits like 40 different times? So that move, let's say she has 400% crit chance, and with the first like portion of the move, or the first tick of the move, you manage to break the person's barrier. The remaining like 40 ticks of the move will not crit. That's just how it is. So this move is extremely strong and really annoying because you just can't break through half the time. Yeah, that's really it. These are the 2 key units that are coming up, and I would say alongside that, there are about 4 units that I would keep an eye out for. So we have Elizabeth. Let me bring back Mellie Otis. Mellie Otis. Going to have Zelgius and Ariari. Okay. So, Mellie Otis and Elizabeth are for they're going to do a lot for you. Story is kind of okay, right? Like, story is at the point where you can beat it relatively easily, no matter who you have, as long as you have leveled up units and good gear. But what they end up being used for, these two units, for Tower of Challenges, or whatever that thing is called, the Challenge Tower, that, getting all the way to the end and killing Escanor, it's going to end up changing every single time, but right now it's Escanor, you need Mellie Otis and Elizabeth. I'm sure you can do it without them when someone figures out some technique. As of right now, just having them makes it so much easier, right? Like, maybe you can do it with some other combination, with the Hawk, but the Hawk loses. I'm not going to get into that. These two units make it extremely easy to go through the entire tower, and you're going to need it for Super Awakening once that comes out. Besides that, Ariari is insane. Increases attack by 10% when the hero uses a skill, buff goes away when no skills are used on that turn. This stacks up to 10 times, meaning 10 buffs. And just ignore everything else, right? Like, 10 buffs, right? Just remember that. Inflicts Amplify, damage equal to 630%, and Amplify is plus 30% per buff on self. And she also applies buffs on here. This is like the Arthur buffs, right? So think about that. She applies that to herself. And then rank 2 and 3, she adds Evade, which is another buff. So she can get a billion buffs, and then she hits someone, and they die because you're doing Dokkan level damage for 4 billion. It's actually just like crazy numbers of damage, right? It's in the millions, like the multiple millions of damage. She's important. You need her for a lot of the scoring events that'll end up coming out. Whether it's Guild Boss, whether it's also just PvE story, right? Like, just killing things is so easy with her. The final boss, Elizabeth and Mellie Otis, are going to use her significantly. Once Guild Wars comes out and people start caring about Guild Boss, that's going to be really important there. And pretty much anything that requires scoring for some leaderboard, Ariari ends up becoming the key unit, similar to how Jericho was before that. And then Zelgius is... I like him a lot. He's really cool. Does a lot of damage, but he's of the 4 units I just mentioned, he's probably the least important. Just like kind of like a personal, honorable mention type thing. He does significant crit damage. His cool passive, yeah. He's not that OP or anything like that. I just find him really interesting. And I think he's a cool unit that is strong in PvP, but doesn't get to see much play because requires a lot of setup to make good. But besides that, I'd say these 3 units, after thinking about it, are the most important units that you want to get multiple copies of, and almost everything else is skippable as long as you get these 3 units. So that is kind of where we're at. I'm pretty sure, like I said, the way it's going to go is we're going to get the pairs of commandments next, and we're probably going to get them relatively, they're just going to give us one after the other. It'll probably be like double Monspeed, double Glocks, double Ariari, double Estarossa, double Zelgius. As long as you get the Ariari, the red Ariari, that's the most important thing. And then the festival units is going to be 30 multis in order to guarantee one of them. So keep that in mind. Start saving, start doing your PvP, get to Champion 5, and sit there so you can at least get your 50 gems every week. Besides that, try not to spend too many gems on banners, because these units will dominate everything. These 2 units, plus King, are the current, and have been the current meta on PvP since the moment Elizabeth came out during 1st anniversary, back in June. It's been over a month, and that is a very long time for PvP meta to be stale. Giving you an idea. So that's going to be it for now. Hopefully this gives you a heads up as to what units are coming up and to whom you should be saving your gems for. Have a good one. See you all next time.